In the many years I've been practicing meditation, there have been so many different techniques that I've learned. One of the things that I find most pervasively helpful is the use of the Five Hindrances, which are taught within the Theravada Buddhist tradition. And I thought I would impart this knowledge to you, which was imparted to me by my teacher, Uddhamarakkhita, actually, in 2022 years ago, because I think it can dramatically alter how you see the mind in meditation and support it. So, in meditation, you will often have an object of focus, right? Most commonly the breath, where you will have your eyes either focused on a point, depending upon your tradition, or downcast and closed. And as I speak, you can actually just allow yourself to be lulled into a meditative state, right? You can, of course, listen with your eyes open, but it might be beneficial to start to practice. Now, thoughts come and go. That is probably the most ubiquitous part of meditation for all human beings, that the mind tries to focus and concentrate, to see itself wisely, and instead it gets engaged in thoughts. And one can see thinking as thinking. One can even label thoughts, which is something that is done in the Mahasi Sayadaw tradition, which I really like. And one can also see the quality of thoughts as having 5 different aspects, which really wrap us around them and pull us away from the present moment, our object of attention. The first one of these hindrances is desire. We get lost thinking about things that we want, how we want things to be different. And it might be desire like a particular type of food. It might be for a house, for more money. It might be sexual desire. It might simply be desire to be different than who we are. And rather than getting caught in it, we can see desire as desire. Just notice, this is desire. And often it will come with a kind of physical signature. For me, there's a lot of pulsing within the chest. I almost feel like I'm being drawn forward. And you should understand for yourself what's present. I also feel a lot of heat when desire becomes too much, right? I want something very desperately, and I don't want to sit present in just the present moment. Next, we have aversion, which is like the other side of the coin, right? So aversion is not liking the way things are and wanting them to go away, wanting them to be different. Instead of just staying present with what is and finding patience in oneself or endurance, right? The Buddha actually has quoted saying that patience is the highest austerity, right? So to be with something that may not be entirely to our liking is important. And that does not mean pressing ourselves to be with something that is painful. It just means staying present with something that may not be, our vision of perfection or totally comfortable. The next one is laziness, right? And we give in to that a lot. And we can give in to that in meditation, just not finding the effort again to reapply the mind to the breath. Starting to fall asleep when we're actually not that tired, right? As an avoidance strategy as well. We should not confuse this with actual fatigue, which a lot of us have in the modern world, because we overwork ourselves, but instead just a tiredness that comes because we're being lulled away from brightness of mind. The next one of the hindrances is anxiety or worry, often it's said, where we sit here as we're meditating, getting completely invested in what might happen in the future, and actually experiencing in our mind as though a negative future were occurring and we're responding to it. So noticing when that arises, that worry is just worry, and bringing ourselves back to the present moment where often there is nothing difficult happening, especially if we're in meditation, right? The only challenges are within the mind. They are not external. And then finally we have doubt. And doubt has many different colors within Buddhism, right, in the way it's taught in the hindrances. So there's the sense of doubt of other people. We can't trust them. Doubt of the spiritual practice. Like, what is the point of sitting here and meditating? What am I really gaining from this? Shouldn't I get up and do this thing in order to solve this problem? How is it going to actually transform if I just sit present and watch my breath? Which actually, for almost any meditator, we know is highly effective in shifting what's going on in both the internal and external world. And there is also just a general sense of doubt that things are going to be okay, like sitting with uncertainty and imagining that things must always certainly be bad in the future. So also noting that mental state and not being drawn into it. So as you're sitting meditating, watching the inhale and exhale, and the mind goes into all kinds of different thinking and imaginings, don't just see the thought as thought, the imagining as imagining, the feelings as feelings, but actually notice, there's desire, and this is what happens to my mind. There's laziness, there's worry, there's doubt. See this quality as it is. Note how it feels within your body, and then come back to the breath. And in time, we shed these qualities for things like compassion, equanimity of mind, joy for other people's accomplishments, loving kindness, wisdom. But it takes a lot of practice. I hope this is helpful. Namaste.